Hi everyone, welcome back to 99 Percentile Hub. If you're new here, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Rishi. I'm a serial 99 percentiler in CAT and also an MBA grad from IIM Bangalore. Over the years, I have written CAT multiple times and consistently scored in the top percentile bracket, 99 plus percentile to be precise. And through this channel, my goal is to share that knowledge and experience with all of you who are aiming for top B schools in the country. Now, one of the most common questions I get from the aspirant is like, how do toppers think while solving questions under pressure, right? And that's exactly why I started doing these live mock attempt videos. Instead of just giving you tips or strategies in theory, I sit down, start a mock test, and attempt it right in front of you. No retakes, no editing out mistakes, just the raw, real attempt as it happens. The idea is to give you the same experience that you would get if you were sitting for the exam yourself, and also to show you the thought process behind every decision that I make. For today's video, I'll be attempting another mock from my own mock test series. The interface, the look and feel are exactly the same as you will get on the portal when you enroll. So this video will give you a very clear idea of what to expect, both in terms of test quality and test taking experience. And by the way, if you haven't checked them already, I have uploaded three live mock attempts from this year and some from the last year as well. So once you finish this video, you can go back and watch those to see how different strategies play out across different mocks. Now, a quick note for those who are building their preparation plan. My CAT mock test series is currently live and open for enrollment. It's designed to be as close to the actual CAT exam as possible, and both in terms of difficulty level and interface. And right now you can grab it at a 25% discount. The link to enroll is in the description below this video. If you have any doubts or want to discuss which plan suits you, feel free to reach out to me directly. My mobile number is available and you can ping me on WhatsApp anytime. So without any further delay, let's dive into today's mock attempt and see how it goes. Stay tuned till the very end because I'll also share some quick takeaways and reflections once the mock is done. So CAT mock 4 is the one that I'm planning to attempt today. The CAT mock 1, 2, and 3, I have attempted those live and those videos are available on the channel. Before I start, let me briefly tell you, let me briefly give you what is it that my plan is going to be. Uh, just a minute. So, just like an actual exam, there are going to be three sections: VARC, DILR, and QA. So, VRC, my plan is to attempt verbal ability questions, especially the non-parajumble ones. I would like to attempt those in first 8 minutes. Then I would go to RCs. Idea is to solve all the four RCs and four questions in each of them. And in the end, if I have time, I would again go back to VA and solve the parajumble questions in the 2 minutes that are left. So idea is to attempt at least 21 plus questions with decent amount of accuracy. In DILR, idea is simple. I'm going to scan the question paper for first 5 minutes. I'm sorry, I don't know what's happening, but yeah, I'm going to scan the question paper for first 5 minutes. And within those 5 minutes, I'm going to decide which three sets that I'm going to attempt. Let me just I don't know what's going on, but let me. So, so in DILR, my plan is simple. I'm going to scan the question paper for first 5 minutes. Okay. In these 5 minutes, I'm going to scan through all the 4 or 5 sets, whatever may be the case, and I'm going to decide which one I don't want to solve. So I'm going to stay away from the most difficult one based on my comfort levels, my strengths and weaknesses. So I'm going to identify which one I'm not going to solve, and then eventually I'll be left with basically 3 sets, and then I would prioritize from easy to medium based on my difficulty level or my comfort zone, and probably spend some 10 and 15 minutes each. Idea is to attempt at least, 12 plus questions as much as possible. But 12 plus questions is something that I would like to attempt. QA, I am going to divide the question paper in 3 rounds, or my duration for the section in 3 rounds. Round one is somewhere about 17 minutes. This is where I go through all the questions and solve all the easy ones. So this is where I target the easier questions. Round two is going to be 18 minutes. This is where I'm going to target all the medium level questions. And in the end, if I have time, I'll go in the round three. This is where I'll solve the difficult questions. Now, what do I mean by that is basically round one, I'm going to solve those questions that are straightforward, familiar, something that I have solved before, uh, like those kind of questions. Round two would be those questions which I may be able to solve, but maybe it would take time, or maybe there is something in the question that I haven't seen before, or I haven't experienced before, something like that. And round three are going to be those which are completely new, unfamiliar, very long, or very tricky kind of questions, right? So, all in all, the idea is to stay away from tough ones so that I can target all the easy and medium ones. That's the idea. Again, attempt would be here somewhere about 15 or 16 plus. And because I'm going to target to pick all the easy and medium ones, I would strive for a higher accuracy here. So that's the overall plan for the mock. And with this plan, let me just go to the mock and let's get started. So this is mock cat 4. Let's get started. Instructions, I guess I have, yeah, pretty normal instructions, so nothing new to highlight. All right, get started. All right. So, 16 would be all right. In agriculture, as in other sectors, policies should promote the efficient use of resources and ensure that prices reflect the scarcity and the cost of environment impacts. An area requiring urgent action is the removal or reform of incentives harmful to biodiversity, for example, tax reduction or exemption on fuels for fishing vessels or subsidies for products driving forest cover loss. So, my author is suggesting to remove or reform these. So far, few countries have taken steps towards identifying incentives to be tackled. So his main focus is on incentives. Okay. Only a few countries are trying to preserve biodiversity through immediate identification. That's not what he's trying to say. He's not complaining that only few countries are doing. Tax reduction or exemption on fuels or fishing vessels and subsidies for products having should be avoided to preserve. Not only that, he's giving them as an example. He's saying policies like these should be avoided or reformed. Governments must immediately curtail incentives which prove to be threat to scarce resources. But where? In agriculture. That's the main point. Governments aren't taking steps to reform agriculture, instead is harmful to biodiversity. Uh, Which one? So A is definitely problematic. B is taking what's written in the bracket too seriously. C and D. Government must immediately curtail incentives. I guess this will be a little too harsh. He's saying reform. I'll go with D. Stephen Covey, in his book Seven Habits, explains the difference between what he describes as the personality ethic and the character ethic. Personality ethic and character ethic. Okay. The personality ethic does not challenge us, neither does it bring about deep changes within us. As we look around and within ourselves and recognize the problems created as we live and interact within the personality ethic, we begin to realize that there are deep fundamental problems that cannot be solved at the superficial level on which they were created. We need a new level, deeper level of thinking, a paradigm based on character and on the principle that actually accurately describe the territory of an effective human being and his interactions to solve the deep concerns. Covey calls this the inside out approach, which means to start first with self, even more fundamentally, to start with the most inside part of self, with your paradigms, your character, and your motives. All the problems that we face, except for the fundamental ones, can be solved with the same level of thinking that we were at when we created them. Uh, I guess cause the inside out approach is missing here. In the character ethnic versus personality ethnic ethic debate, character ethic trumps personality ethic. The former emphasizes deep changes in us, while the latter falls back on methods or techniques. Mm, which cannot be solved at the level. So we need new paradigm based on character. B, a character-based inside-out approach is necessary to effectively counter the problems that we face created. Inside Out is a dramatic paradigm shift for most people and ensures a continuing process of renewal. Now, this D is out of scope. A, all the problems seems a little too extreme. Between B and C in the character ethic, or the character ethic trumps personality ethic. Is there a debate going on? He explains the difference between two, but there's no debate as to which one is better than the other. Character-based inside-out approach is necessary to effectively counter and it's this seems okay. For a long time in the past, it was the rage to remark on the speed with which we were leaving the past behind. Now we happily talk about either how little has changed or the past persist within or behind the newness of things. We'll never be rid of the past. This is surely a fateful way of understanding the past's persistence. But this fate does not have to be bad. Just because we are shadowed by old does not mean we are its puppets or have to have no freedom at all. What's more, the idea that the past persists can have a salutary effect. It may soften our fetish or change, turn our fever for forward movement or to reticence, relax the continual tortured desire to move on. On the other hand, if we admit that the past persists, it does seem unlikely that we will ever achieve total freedom. Accepting this mode of fate ruins the fantasy that we could have, no constraints, whatever. Okay. One cannot renovate at the same time admit that the past had never actually passed. Yes, yes, okay. One is grappled by the discrepancy between the contemporaneity of a person's act and the primordiality of his intention and his persistence. Gripped by the discrepancy, no. He is basically saying that you can keep the baggage of old, but at the same time you can innovate too. But this fate does not have to be bad. Just because we are shadowed by old ones does not mean we are puppets or freedom. That's what he meant. So A and B is basically saying that we cannot move on. See, conjuring up the past can be beneficial or onerous, but it is up to us to achieve a life of freedom without any constraints. The past persistence can have both positive and negative effects, but admitting to it limit us in achieving complete freedom. I guess D is more moderate. 8 minutes have passed. Let me go to this is Jamal. Well, odd one out. Outside the main conference building, they put up a tent housing a rowdy coalition of people from 20 states, and it is under the banner, "We are still in." It showed that even without Mr. Trump and the federal government, the local activists in America are committed to the spirit of the agreement. Some non-American delegates at the conference found this fringe event more reassuring than the climate talk themselves. The EU and China, each in its own way, are taking up America's mantle of climate leadership. At the UN, I guess this is a typing mistake, okay. At the UN Climate Summit in Bonn last November, some Americans came up with their own response to Donald Trump's decision to withdraw from the Paris Agreement. Okay, so this is somewhere about we're talking about climate. Paris outside of the they put up a tent. Who put up that tent? Local activists are committed to the spirit of agreement. So two says that they agree with Paris Agreement. One says we are still in. On this fringe event more than the climate talk themselves. So this fringe event is basically what these activists are doing. So 2 and 3 is, I guess, fine. 1, 2, 3 is, I guess, fine. They're all talking about people protesting. The EU and China in its own are taking over US mantle of climate leadership. When some Americans came up their own report. Okay, so 5, 1, 2, 3 is talking about a protest. 4 talks about EU and China. I'll go with 4. The genocide was carried out during and after World War I and implemented in 2 phases. The Armenian genocide was the Ottoman government's systematic extermination of up to 1.5 million of its minority Armenian subjects inside their historic homeland, which lies within present-day Republic of Turkey. This was followed by the deportation of women, children, and infirm and death marches leading to the Syrian desert. Turkey, the successor state of the Ottoman Empire, denies the word genocide as an accurate term for the mass killings that began under Ottoman rule in 1915. The first phase included the wholesale killing of the able-bodied male population. So I guess first male, then women and children. So 3 and 5 are connected. In 2 phases. The genocide was carried out and implemented in 2 phases. The Armenian genocide was the systematic extermination. Turkey denies the word term for the mass killing that began under Ottoman rule in 1915. One is out of where is the 2 phases? Only first phase is given. So 2 phase, first phase is fine. 5 and 3 are connected. So 1, 3, 5 is fine. And 4 sets up the tone for the genocide. So I guess 2 is out of context. Spend too much time, okay. The rise of surveillance capitalism over the last 2 decades went largely unchallenged. Digital was fast, we were told, and stragglers would be left behind. It's not surprising that so many of us rushed to follow the bustling white rabbit down his tunnel into a promised digital wonderland, where, like Alice, we fell prey to delusion. In Wonderland, we celebrated the new age digital services as free, but now we see that the surveillance capitalists behind those services regard us as the free commodity. We thought that we search Google, but now we understand that Google searches us. we have begun to understand that privacy policies are actually surveillance policies. Privacy is not private because the effectiveness of private or public surveillance and control system depends upon the pieces of ourselves that we give up or that are secretly stolen from us. Our digital century was to have been democracy's golden age. Instead, we enter its third decade marked by stark new form of social inequality best understood as epistemic inequality. It recalls a pre-Gutenberg era of extreme asymmetries of knowledge and the power that accrues to such knowledge as the tech giants seize control of information and learning itself. The delusion of privacy as private was crafted to breed and feed this unanticipated social divide. Surveillance capitalists exploit the widening inequity of knowledge for the sake of profits. They manipulate the economy, our society, and even our lives with impunity, endangering not just individual privacy but democracy itself. The belief that privacy is private has left us careening towards a future that we did not choose because it failed to reckon with profound distinction between a society that insists upon sovereign individual rights and one that lives by the social relations of one-way mirror. The lesson is that privacy is public. It is a collective good that is logically and morally inseparable from the values of human autonomy and self-determination upon which privacy depends, and without which a democratic society is unimaginable. Oh my God, how big is this patch? Still, the wind appears to have finally shifted. Okay, so something good is happening. A fragile new awareness is dawning as we claw our way back up the rabbit hole. Surveillance capitalists are fast because they seek neither genuine consent nor consensus. They rely on psychic numbing and messages in order to conjure up helplessness, resignation, and confusion that paralyze their prey. Democracy is slow, and that's a good thing. Its pace reflects the tens of millions of conversations that occur in families, among neighbors, co-workers, and friends within communities, cities, states, gradually stirring the sleeping giant of democracy to action. These conversations are occurring now, and there are many indications that lawmakers are ready to join and lead. This third decade is likely to decide our fate. Epistemic inequality is not based on what we can earn, but rather than what we can learn. It is defined as unequal access to learning imposed by private commercial mechanisms of information capture, production, analysis, and sales. It is best exemplified in the fast-growing abyss between what we know and what is known about us. 20th century industrial society was organized around division of labor, and the struggle for economic equality shaped the politics of that time. Our digital century shifts society's coordinates toward division of learning, and the struggle over access to knowledge and the power conferred by such knowledge will shape the politics of our time. How does surveillance capitalism endanger democracy itself? Okay. Which of the following basically the central idea of the passage? Okay. Surveillance capitalism, with its extensive capture and commodification of personal data, has undermined personal freedom and democracy in the last 2 decades. Now, surveillance capitalism, data has undermined. This is only talking about the first part of the passage. The second part is the winds have finally shifted, so something new is happening too. So in the first 2 decades, the are likely to determine the economic but even fate of the next decade. Again, it's not talking about things are changing. The rising awareness about how surveillance in the last 2 decades has severely undermined individual autonomy and democracy activities at the fate of our society. Yeah, this is the one. I'll go with. Increased data collection and control may have various advantages, but the danger no. By surveillance capitalism, the author most likely means. What does the author mean? It's basically you're gathering the data of your users and you're basically earning revenue out of it. And because you want to earn revenue, you are also trying to uh, change the behavior of your users. Basically, Google, you don't search on Google, the Google searches us, basically. Okay. The author most likely means the economic order of the digital century in which companies battle for information dominance, undermining not only individual but also democracy. Uh, Companies battle for information dominance. I guess information dominance is not surveillance capitalism. It's like select few players are controlling what's happening in the market. The gathering of personal data of users by tech companies such as Google to not only commoditize it for profits but also control human behavior. The tendency of big tech companies to capture one's private experience, use it to design, produce, sell new products. Sell new products? No, that's too literal. I guess B is fine. Control human behavior. So that shows the depth of the problem. Private surveillance system. Private. Based on the environment that is shared, also creating new forms of no. That is epistemic inequality, by the way. The question is surveillance capitalism. How does surveillance endanger democracy? Surveillance breeds social inequality through knowledge imbalance. No, that's inequality. Creates divides based on privacy policies. No, whether privacy is actually public makes us answer. So society in one-way mirror. One-way mirror or something was given. Breeds social knowledge imbalance. That is epistemic inequality. Equality. Author of the following is most decide the fate of surveillance, public opinion, democratic. I guess millions of people chattering. That's what he meant. Public opinion. Oh my God. Although clashes over cultural appropriation have seriously damaged relations between South Korea and China, foreign observers in Washington have stayed largely silent on the issue. This partly reflects the underrepresentation of historians and cultural experts in the US capital. While outside observers might dismiss controversies like the one on the origins of Korean traditional dress as outbursts of petty nationalism, they are part of Beijing's efforts to frame East Asia as an inviolable part of the Sinocentric sphere to both domestic and international audiences. And given Russia's use of history to justify its invasion of Ukraine, the US foreign policy establishment ignores these identity issues at the peril of Washington's ability to stay ahead of developments in the region. Princeton University professors observed that South Korea faces particular severe attacks on its identity from China. Beijing's view that Seoul belongs in a subordinate position vis-a-vis China in the history of pre-modern tributary relationships, such as the ones that existed between Korean Joseon Kingdom and the Chinese Qing dynasty. But this history is complex and multifaceted. Political actors in Joseon continues to know the relationship with China to advance their own domestic interests. This brings into question the extent to which the relationship was performative versus a social reality. For instance, many Joseon monarchs reigned without first receiving a formal confirmation from the imperial court in Beijing, as was nominally appropriate in a tributary relationship. Historical interpretation became a conscious and active part of China's diplomacy in direct response to the collapse of its international prestige, unable to project real power in the face of setbacks ranging from the defeat in the First Sino-Japanese War in 1895 to the civil war between warlords. After the Xinhai Revolution, the Chinese Republic at start of the 20th century pursued a new diplomatic strategy. The Chinese representative at the 1990 Versailles Conference argued that China should be recognized as a great power based on the merit of its geographic size, cultural and historic knowledge. Beijing still sees the US side as partly contingent to the continuity of its historic role as regional hegemon. In this context, the disputes over cultural appropriation between Korea and China takes on a threatening tone. Beijing's insistence, for instance, that the ancient Korean kingdom of blah blah is part of Chinese history is less about being inclusive of ethnic Korean minority in China and more about asserting the view that the Republic of Korea is not a fully legitimate country deserving respect or sovereignty. It's basically attacking the identity of the country itself. Similarly, Beijing insists Koreans cannot take ownership of their own traditional clothing because the Korean people do not have claim to an independent cultural identity. They are basically saying Chinese that Korea is just an extension of China. It's not Korea, it's basically China. Sharp responses from South Korean public against China's is that they recognize these moves as threats to their present-day sovereignty, but US observers appear to sidestep about the deeper implications of China into cultural historical dominance in East Asia. This way, Beijing pushed to entrench a narrative that foreshadows to our neighboring countries that infringe on its. Basically, it says that America has no clue, or the West has no clue, or uh, what do you say? Deliberately, they don't want to get into all of these. Okay, all right. The author uses an example of Russia to demonstrate in the US that it's basically uh, it's like I don't care about the West, I don't care about the US. I'm gonna do what I think is right based on my past in the region or something like that. That's why the Russia's example was given and said why Russia used history to justify its invasion of Ukraine. Chinese aggression like Russian invasion of Ukraine. No, no, that's a little extreme. Chinese may be determined by its mission in the region. This could be. They may undermine the US position in the region. I guess C is more appropriate. Trade of petty nation in Israel may be detrimental. B or C? Much appropriate. Sometimes it's false. No. In B and C, I'll go with C. It's a little more specific. So author believes that history of pre-modern tributary relationships with China and South Korea is complex because the William secretary sought the help of Chinese King dynasty. Political actors use their relationship with China to further their domestic interests. Actors didn't necessarily the etiquette of a tributary role of the imperial court in meeting before beginning their reign. It's complex because or should I just trade relationship? PTIS. I don't know. Which of the following is the author's argument in the past? I understand threat to the East Asian countries. No, I guess the passage is a little more specific about Korea. Yes, that is a channel shot in now and arrested. It's bit over I think I think the passages about US not doing anything. So maybe US silence is fine. Whether China is historically relevant to all of the following except historical revisionism. So three are correct, one is not. Okay, let's see. The part of your influencer. What does US silence has to do with China's historical revisionism? Because of common good in political science refers to anything that benefits and is naturally shared by all members of a given community compared to things that benefit the private good of individuals or sectors of society. In some cases, securing things serving the common good requires collective action, but in the political process. Despite its increasing importance in modern society, the concept of the common good was first mentioned over 2000 years ago in the writings of Plato, Aristotle, and Cicero. As early as the 2nd century AD, Catholic religious tradition defined the common good as the sum of those conditions of social life which allow social groups and their individual members relatively thorough and ready access to their own fulfillment. In his 1762 book, The Social Contract, Swiss philosopher, writer, and political theorist Jean-Jacques Rousseau argues that in successful societies, the general will of the people will always be directed toward achieving the collectively agreed common good. Rousseau contrasts the will of all, the total of the desires of each individual, with the general will, the one will which is directed towards their common preservation and general well-being. Rousseau further contends that political authority in the form of laws will be viewed as legitimate and enforceable only if it is applied according to the general will of the people and directed toward their common good. Scottish philosopher and economist Adam Smith, in his classic 1776 book, The Rights of Nations, argues that in systems of natural liberty where people are allowed thorough people are out through the invisible hand of a free market economy to pursue their own self-interest, individual ambitions serve the common good. In saying this, myth contains that universal opulence which extends itself to the lowest ranks of the people. Universal opulence, okay, which extends itself to the lowest ranks of the people. So, okay, will ultimately result in the advancement of the common good. Like Adam Smith, John Rawls further contains that for common good to be realized, the society bears a shared responsibility to ensure that well-being of the least economically able class is maintained. Indeed, his second principle of justice provides that for the common good to be preserved, all social and economic inequalities must be prioritized so that they are of the greatest benefit of the least advantaged members of society, and that policymaking offices and position must be open to everyone under conditions of fair equality and opportunity. Achieving a common good has always required a degree of individual sacrifice. Today, the trade-offs and sacrifices necessary for the common good often involve paying taxes, accepting personal inconvenience, or giving up certain long-held cultural beliefs and privileges. While occasionally offered voluntarily, the sacrifices and trade-offs are usually incorporated into laws and public policy. Okay. What is the main purpose of the passage? Explain that despite its importance, a common good cannot be achieved. Cannot be achieved. No. Explain that the concept of common good is dominated particularly from ancient times. Define as used in political science. There's the history of the use of common good in political science. Where is the history? We have done that, so this could be in the concept of the history of use of the term common good. Has okay, I'll go with B. B is better. None of the following can be validated from the definition of common good according to Review's edition, except so basically three. None of the following can be validly deduced. So three cannot be deduced, one can be deduced. It is secular and subjective, it can be deduced. It has deep religious connotation, cannot be deduced. Consensus conception, no, and one imperatives, no. I'll go with A. According to the general will, where was that? So always be achieving the collectively agreed on goal. There is the collective design aspiration of society is closer to already is not always the political authority. Basically saying that generally the one which is directed toward their common general well-being. Okay, so that is not general will, which is directed towards their common general well-being. Rather than individual. Altruism is benefiting everyone, so I guess. According to the passage, both Adam Smith are most likely to agree with which of the following? They would agree with. So both of them would agree with basically help the lower end of the people and all of that. Serves the common good, extend itself to the lowest ranks of the people, each individual towards their common preservation. So basically everybody, even the lowest rank of the people, should get benefited. Okay. Free market economies are unlikely to advance the common good in society. Are unlikely, I don't think so. Pursuit of self-interest is not antithetical to the furtherance of common good. No, it's the opposite actually. Common preservation are inconsistent with no. Helps foster the concept of yeah. 9 minutes. Okay. The immune system has many weapons with which to counter hostile incomers, but what works against one may not be effective against another. An interloper can take advantage of this by misdirecting the system into thinking it is fighting an enemy that is not. This buys time for the interloper to become entrenched. That is sneaky. Sneakier still, though, is the approach that's discovered by blah blah of Yale University as he had his colleagues report. In immunity, they have found a bacterium that induces its host immune system to release compounds on which it can then feed. Mammalian immune systems have two modes of attack. Type 1 is used against bacteria and viruses, type 2 against multicellular parasites such as worms. Some invading bacteria, however, provoke a type 2 response when type 1 would be appropriate. Okay. He and his colleagues studied the behavior of Pseudomonas blah blah blah, a bacterium which causes stubborn infections in people with cystic fibrosis. They suspected it was leading to the body to mount an effective type 2 response against it and wanted to know how it was doing this. To explore the matter, they grew laboratory cultures of the sorts of cells that line human airways and monitored their gene expression profiles when exposed to LASB, a toxic enzyme produced by bacterium. They found that LASB activated signaling pathways which drove the epithelial cells to make a protein called amphiregulin. This forms the basis of a thick mucus that excels at ensnaring parasitic worms. It also, so a bacteria is being treated as worm, or at least it triggers signal, and the retaliatory system thinks they are attacking against a worm, but then it's actually a bacteria. It also recruits immune cells, blah blah blah, which are adept at attacking multicellular parasites. Okay, correct. So it's a bacteria, but then the body is treating it as a worm. So when you should actually be attacking with type 1, your body is thinking it's a worm, so it goes into attacking with type 2. That finding alone is interesting because it helps explain why cystic fibrosis patients with bacterial infection often develop copious mucus in their lungs, even though this does nothing to counter the bacteria. More intriguing, though, was what happened when the researchers tried growing P blah 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 samples of this mucus. So long as LASB was present, the bacteria did not merely thrive, but actually consume the mucus. Not only is P area tricking the immune system into an inappropriate response, it is also feeding on the result. So whatever this process is explained, like protein called amphiregulin and all, this actually strengthens the bacteria. To make things worse, it all even makes the okay. Those are examples of this news. That's right, but taking them it is also very and to make things worse. All this even makes the surrounding tissue prone to allergy. There are essentially exaggerating and appropriate type 2 immune responses. This has therefore wondered whether the reactions being created by LASB could cause lasting result. To find out, they spread mice infected with egg white protein on first and seventh days of a 4 week as a control. They did the same with mice genetically engineered to lack the ability to produce amphiregulin when exposed to LAS. They theorized that in the absence of worms, the inflammatory issues in normal mice might instead derive the egg white protein as an intruder. This is exactly what happened when injected with a small amount of egg white protein. 23 weeks after the start of the normal mice showed a strong allergic response to it. Regular mice showed later. So the following is true about it's basically coming off as a worm and invoking a type 2 response when it actually is a bacteria. It tricks the immune system into nurturing it. It misdirects the immune system into a type 1 attack. No, it misdirects it to the type 2 attack. Clear the immune system from mounting prevents? No. Clear the protein call? No. I guess one is fine. Is the cause of all of the following except cystic fibrosis? No, that's a precondition. Oh, I don't know. There are people with cystics. Yes, so this is fine. This is fine. This is fine. Cystic fibrosis is the precondition, I guess. It explains why pre-cystic fibrosis patients, so people already have that. And then when they get exposed to this bacteria, then all these three happen basically. When epithetical cells were exposed to loss P, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which one? 1, 2, 3. This one, okay. Okay. It misdirected the immune system to type mount 1 attack instead of type 2 attack. No. When epithelial cells were exposed to LASP, it mounted a type 1, yes. But why? The reason is basically the system thought that it's a bomb. Monitors the gene expression of that release. Monitored the gene expression. No. It measured the immune system to think that it was fighting multicellular parasite. There was amphiregulin that would feed parasitic, I guess. Yes, see. It can be inferred from the last paragraph that last paragraph is okay. Genetic modifier can treat patient effectively. Patient may be particularly vulnerable to allergies. This is fine. Can become the cause of lasting allergies in normal people. Can be treated by production. I go with B. Lasting allergies, no. 2 minutes left. No matter what is depicted or from what point of view, the overarching presence is that it is there for our amusement and pleasure. Entertainment is the supra-ideology of discourse on television. That is why even on news shows which provide us daily with fragments of television, we are urged by the newscasters to join them tomorrow. This is for a month. So 4-2 is a link. It's a ideology of all discourse on television. That it is there for our amusement and pleasure. What is there? This murder man. 3 introduces for our amusement and pleasure. 3 introduces. Should I go with 4 or 1? So 2-4 is a link, not 4-2, because it says we are urged to come tomorrow. And what for? Because we would think that single minutes. So 2-4 is a link. 2-4-1 or 1-2-4. Not for one would think plus nights, no matter what is depicted. 3 should connect now, and this is where all discourse on television. And no matter what is depicted, that is why even that is why.
Alright. Anyway, let's get started with DILR. In a bank, if a customer approaches the teller to withdraw money from the bank, the teller immediately services the customer if only sufficient cash is available in the bank. If sufficient cash is not available, the cash in the bank is replenished. Procure additional cash from currency chest. Service any customer who wants to deposit money. Okay. Meanwhile, the customer who wants to withdraw money but could not be serviced has to wait until sufficient cash is available, after which he is serviced immediately. The customer approaches teller always be serviced immediately. Okay. On a particular day, 15 customers were at the bank at different times for depositing or withdrawing money. In the beginning, the cash available was 250,000. The first table was 15 customers at different times, withdrawing money or depositing at the beginning. Okay. This seems okay. How many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 6 badminton players of India participated in 5 badminton tournaments, namely. Okay. All 6 players participated in all 5 tournaments. In double, players were divided in 2 or 3 categories in each tournament as per the world ranking. Category A has players ranked 1 to 10, B 11 to 20, C 21 to 30. The ranking of one player may not be same in all the 5 tournaments. In the doubles game, 2 players of the same categories were not paired together. For example, in BWF Cup, okay, 3 players in category A and 3 players are in category B. Then a player from A was paired with a player from B. Okay, we don't know who with who, but A with B. A cannot be with A basically. Additional information. How many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Refer to the data below and answer the question that follow. Subjects, community medicine, form of the 5 subjects are scheduled in a time slot of 1 hour each from morning 8 to afternoon. Okay, community medicine is third. This seems like arrangement which cannot be determined. 4, 5, 6. Okay, 6 questions, 7 persons, A, B, C, D, which comprised only speeches of this, and when a person reached the venue, they realized that they were asked to sit around a circular table which had only 6 uniform seats. 7 persons, 6 seats. The 7 of them came to an agreement that at the beginning of the while the first person to speak gives a speech at the podium, the remaining 6 persons will sit around the table. Okay, once the first person finishes the speech, the second person to speak will stand at the podium and make a speech offering his seat to the person who spoke thus before him. This process of sharing the seats will continue until the 7th person. Okay, this seems like arrangement too, but here the sequence of the speech and then sitting arrangement. I would just rather solve the previous one. Okay, so this one I would leave, and others I have no choice but to solve. Okay, so let me go to this question. So in this, basically what they are saying is, so you have customer coming in the bank. Oops. So for example, so let me write it in this way. Customer, how much amount he or she requires in time, out time, and duration of wait, something like that. And then I'll create this huge table and the timeline, everything in it. Okay. So customer comes at 10:05, it's 10:30. Okay. So customer 1 demands 100,000. He comes at 10:05. At 10:05, there are 250,000 in the bank. So he leaves at 10:05. Once he leaves, there is 150,000 in the bank. Duration of wait is 0. Then customer 2 comes in again for withdrawal of 325,000, and this guy comes in at 10:15, but at 10:15 there is only 150,000 in the bank, so this guy has to wait. Then 10:18 customer 3 comes in. Customer 3 comes in with a deposit of 15,000, which means at 10:18 there is 165,000 in the bank. Customer 4 walks in again with a deposit of 10,000. He walks in at 10:21, and by the time he comes, so 175,000 in the bank. Then 10:30 to 25,000, and then 10:35. Then Then basically from the chest 225,000 are deposited. So at 10:30 cash in the bank is 4 lakh. It is at this point that this customer will get serviced at 10:30 basically, and he will get 325,000, so 75,000 remains in the bank. So this guy had to wait for 15 minutes. Okay. Then what happens? Then customer 5 walks in. So basically at 10:30 there are 75,000 in the bank. Customer 5, 125,000 withdrawal. 125,000 withdrawal. He comes in at 10:35 and only 75,000 in the bank at that point in time. So this guy has to wait. And then 11 second is 12:05. So 11:45 there is deposit of 75,000. 11:45, which means the cash in the bank becomes 150,000. So at 11:45 this guy will get 125. What is going on, man? 125,000. So 25,000 remains in the bank, which means this guy will get 125,000. This guy had to wait 10:35, 25, 45, 70 minutes. Okay. Next. Then customer 7 walks in. Okay, at 11:45 cash in the bank is 25,000. Customer 7 walks in at 11:50 for 85,000 withdrawal. So this guy wants 85,000, and so this guy had 85,000. He comes in at 11:50, at which there is only 25,000 in the bank. So this person has to wait, right? How much does he have to wait? 12:05 there is replenishment. So again from chest 1 lakh rupees deposited at 12:05, at which point in time there are 125,000 in the bank. So this guy gets his 85,000. This guy gets his 85,000, 125,000, that means 40,000 remain in the bank. This guy had to wait for 15 minutes. Okay. Next, so 12:05, how much is there in the bank? 40,000. 12:25, there is a deposit of 25,000. So customer 8 walks in. 12:25 deposit of 25,000. So now 12:25, how much do we have? We have 40 plus 25, 65,000 in the bank. 12:25. Okay. Then 12:50, customer 9 comes in for a 125,500. 12:50 he comes in. So this guy has to wait because there are only 65,000 rupees in the bank. And then C10 comes in with 135,500 at 230. Okay, at which 135 plus 65 is 2 lakh. So basically now there are 2 lakh 500 in the bank. 2 lakh 500 in the bank. 135 65. Yes. And this is where the 1250 guy gets serviced at 230. He gets about 2 lakh 500 minus 125,500. So 75,000 remain in the bank, and this guy had to wait 1250 to 230. So 10 minutes and 70 plus 30, 100 minutes. Then customer 11 comes in, 2:50 p.m. withdrawal of 45,000, 250. He will be serviced at 250. When he came in, there were 75,000. When he left, 30,000 remained in the bank. No wait time for this customer. Then C12 came in at, replenishes when 330. Okay, C12 came in at 320 with 125,000 withdrawal. Now when he came in, there were only 30,000 in the bank, so this person has to wait. Then 330 there is from chest to 50,000 deposited. So 330, there are 280,000 in the bank, and then this guy takes away 125,000, 280, 180, 155,000 basically are in the bank, and this guy had to wait for 10 minutes. Then so at 330 there are 155 available in the bank. 335 another customer C13 walks in for 140,000 withdrawal request. He walks in at 335, at which point in time there are 150,000. 155,000 in the bank, 140,000. So he will get immediately, which is where only 15,000 are left, and this guy will have to wait more time. Then C14 comes in. C14 comes in at 340, which is when the amount in the bank is only 15,000, and only at 355 he will be given money. 39 plus 15. 39 plus 15 is what? 54,000. And that's what he withdraws. So he had to wait for 15 minutes. At which of the five was the cash available in the bank maximum? 3 p.m. 3 p.m. cash available is 250 to 30,000. 1020 165,000. So definitely 3 p.m. is not the answer. 11 a.m. Again, it's only 75,000 and 356. The path is 1020. What is the average time for which customer waited after using the teller to withdraw or deposit money? So 15, 70, 1500, 100, 200, 220, Sorry, 200 and 225. And how many customer? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 15 customers total now. 225 by 15 minutes. 5 minutes wait, 10 to 12 of the carrier on the line not sufficient to service all the wait times. 100, 200, 225 minutes. These are how you waited the longest. 100 minutes, customer 9. Oops. Customer 9 is Hana. Okay, amongst the option 2, 7, 5, 14, 2, 15. So next one is customer 5. 23 minutes. I spent too much time on that one. Okay. So for this one, let me simply draw who played against. Okay, who paired with whom? Prakash, Pranay, P. Sai K. Prakash, Pranay, P. Sai K. Srikanth, Lakshay, Srikanth, Lakshay, Chirag. Then there are cups. So there is one Thomas. So there Thomas. World Grand. And then World Championship. Okay. Pranay, Srikanth, Thomas Cup. Pranay and Srikanth. So Srikanth and Pranay, these were in Thomas Cup. Srikanth and Chirag, World Grand Prix. Srikanth and Chirag. So World Grand, this is Chirag. This is Srikanth. Okay. So now, who do I know the most about? Srikanth. So if I look at VARC, because this is straightforward, Srikanth can play against Prakash, Pranay, P. Sai K. Pranay he has already played. So Prakash or P. Sai K. Prakash or P. Sai K in VARC. Okay. How about here? Srikanth is A. He needs to play against one of the three C's. Pranay, P. Sai K, Chirag. Pranay, Chirag done. So this has to be P. Sai K. So P. Sai K, Srikanth is here. So now VARC. Srikanth, Prakash, Pranay, P. Sai K. Pranay, P. Sai K is done. So Prakash, Srikanth, P. Sai K, Prakash, Pranay, Chirag. So this has to be Lakshay. And Lakshay, Srikanth in WC. Lakshay, Srikanth in WC. Okay. Now what? Now what? Srikanth is done. Similarly, should I just go to the others then? Okay. So now if I look at, so by observation I can see Pranay, P. Sai K cannot be in the same team in this cup and World also. Pranay and P. Sai K can be in Thomas or World. Pranay and P. Sai K can be in, but Pranay is with Srikanth in Thomas. So this has to be P. Sai K. So P. Sai K, Pranay, World Cup. P. Sai K, Pranay, World Cup. So now what is remaining? Prakash and Chirag. So Prakash goes here. Chirag goes here, right? So now if I just go row by row, Prakash is B. He has to play against Pranay, P Psyche or Chirag. So this he has to play against Pranay or P Psyche. Prakash has to play against Pranay or P Psyche. He cannot play against P Psyche. So this has to be Pranay. So Pranay plays against Prakash. And then Akshay, Chirag play amongst themselves. Chirag, Lakshay. Let's focus on then Ubarka, Pranay. Let's focus on Ubarka, Pranay. He has to play against Srikanth, Lakshay, Chirag. Cannot play against Srikanth, Lakshay or Chirag. This has to be Lakshay or Chirag. That means Lakshay, Chirag has to be here. And then these two become Pranay or P Psyche. Pranay or P Psyche. Pranay or P Psyche, okay. Thomas Cup, if I look at Prakash, has to play against P Psyche, Srikanth, Lakshay. P Psyche, P Psyche, Srikanth or Lakshay. P Psyche, Srikanth or Lakshay. Cannot play against Srikanth. So P Psyche or Lakshay. P Psyche or Lakshay. P Psyche or Lakshay. That means this is P Psyche or Lakshay, but Lakshay is already there in Chirag, so this has to be P Psyche. This has to be Lakshay, right? So P Psyche is against Chirag and Lakshay is with Prakash. So if P Psyche is in Chirag in Thomas, he has to be with Lakshay here, then Chirag here. So Chirag and Pranay. So Lakshay then P Psyche. So Pranay, Srikanth, Lakshay, Chirag. This has to be then P Psyche. So P Psyche with Prakash, and then Pranay is with Lakshay. In which Pranay and Chirag together. Pranay with Chirag is in Uber Cup. Which of the following pairs is correct for Sudhirman Cup? Okay. Prakash and P Psyche. Prakash, P Psyche, no. P Psyche, Lakshay. P Psyche, Lakshay, no. Chirag and Lakshay, yes. Chirag and Prakash, no. Among the given six Indian players, in how many instances was an A category player paired with a B category player? They are A and B. So let me see. Srikanth P. Srikanth was P Psyche. So no here. So here all the three. Oh, sorry. Here 3. Here definitely 2, so 5. Here definitely 2, so 7. Here definitely 3, so 10. The 3 pairs in Thomas Cup were Thomas Cup, Prakash, Lakshay, Srikanth, Pranay. Prakash Lakshay Srikanth Pane. Yes. Which lecture was scheduled from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. in section 2? Okay, sorry. Next. 13 minutes left. Let me solve this. Basically, what do I have? I have 5 sections. So basically, section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4, section 5. And then I have 8 a.m. lecture, 9 a.m. 12, sorry, what am I writing? 10, 11, and then 12 o'clock. Okay. Community medicine is third lecture in section 1. So first lecture, second, third, fourth. Community medicine is third lecture in section 1. The first lecture in section 3 is neither forensic medicine and toxicology nor community medicine. First lecture in section 3 is neither FMT nor community medicine. The second lecture is either pharma or pathology. This is either pharma or pathology. Okay. Time slot of microbiology in section 4 is same as pathology in section 3. Pathology section 3, so wherever the pathology comes here has to be accompanied by microbiology there. The fourth lecture in section 2 is forensic medicine and technology. Fourth lecture in section 2 is FMT. Okay. The lecture of pathology is scheduled at an earlier time slot in 2 than in 3. Pathology in section 2 is earlier than pathology in section 3. Okay. Other than pathology and pharmacology, all other subjects are scheduled at an earlier time slot in 2 than in 1. Other than pathology and pharmacology, 2 is always before 1. 2 is always before 1. So if FMT comes here. So pathology and pharmacology, 1 will be before 2 and other 3, 2 will be before 1. Okay. The same subset cannot be taught simultaneously. It's 10 minutes. Okay. So now, anything else? This is it, right? Okay. How do I proceed? So basically, pharmacology and pathology, section 1 will be before section 2. Section 1 will be before section 2, which means CM has to be here or here. So CM cannot come here. CM cannot come here. Then something is to say lecture of pathology scheduled at an earlier time slot in 2 than in 1. So 2 pathology comes before then 3. Okay. So 2 pathology has to come before. That means pathology cannot be last here or pathology cannot be first here. So this cannot be CM, pathology, FMT. So this has to be between pharma or MB. But this cannot be MB either because MB has to be after in section 1 than in section 2. So no CM, no pathology, no MB, no FMT. So this has to be pharma. Correct? Let me just box these up. So this has to be pharma. If this is pharma, pharma can come anywhere in section 1 because section 1 pharma has to be before. Section 1 pathology also has to be before, which means this cannot be pathology, right? Now pathology and pharmacology, they can be before. How about here? There is no FMT, CM, pathology. So what is remaining? FMT, CM, pathology. So what is remaining? Pharma and MB. What is remaining here? CM, FMT. So pathology or pharma or MB. This is again pathology or pharma or MB. This is pharma or MB. How about here? FMT and pharma done. So CM, pathology and MB. CM, pathology, MB. CM, pathology, MB, and this has to be either pathology or MB. How much time is left? 6 minutes, okay. Now, what about this FMT? FMT is basically, this is here, and FMT cannot come here. That means FMT comes here. Okay. Now what? Now, where can MB go? For example, MB has to be before. So MB cannot come here. MB, if MB comes here, then this MB has to be here. Which means this will be pharma and this will be pathology. But then pathology cannot come here. Correct? Yeah. Which means what? MB cannot come here, so this has to be pharma. If this is pharma, so this becomes pathology. This becomes MB. So these are pathology, So if this is MB, MB then has to come here, which means pharma is here. So MB cannot come here. So if pharma is here, that means pathology is here, and pathology is here, that means MB is here. That means CM is here. MB दो बार हो गया ना. MB cannot come here. MB cannot come here. MB cannot. I have time, 4 minutes. Let me refigure out of this. CM was here. So this could be either pharma or MB. If MB is here, that means any one of these can be MB. No, if MB is here, so one of these two has to be MB, right? One of these two has to be MB because then pharma and pathology. So actually MB comes here, in which case MB cannot come here. which basically means then MB is here. So if MB is here, so this is not MB, this is not. Let me just erase. So MB is here, that means pathology is here. 3 minutes. MB pathology FMT pharma, that means CM comes here. CM comes here. Then what comes here? CM FMT pathology, CM was there. So basically then pharma comes here. If pharma CM, so MB comes here. Now that works. Because now pharma is before pharma in 1. Pathology. So pathology will then come here. Pathology is before in 1, so that is fine. Pharma CM MB. इधर अभी बचा क्या? इधर फार्मा और पैथोलॉजी था, तो यहाँ पे आ जाएगा फार्मा. 2 minutes. This is फार्मा. पैथोलॉजी MB, FMT फार्मा. अभी बचे कौन? अभी बचा ये FMT. MB इधर नहीं आ सकता, so this has to be pathology. This has to be MB. Which means this has to be CM. Which lecture was 8 to 9 in section 2? Section 2, 8 to 9 is CM. How many subjects were scheduled at an earlier time? Okay, so this I'll have to complete. Pharma, CM, MB. So either FMT or pathology, FMT or pathology. This will be MB pathology pharma. So CM or FMT. CM or FMT. Then how about this? Pharma and pathology remaining here. That means pharma is here. Pathology has to be here. So what is remaining here? MB. What is remaining here? Pharma. What comes here? Here remains CM. That means this is this. This is pathology. This is FMT. Then this is CM. How many subjects lecture were scheduled at an earlier time slot? FMT, yes. CM, yes. Pharma, yes. 3. What was the time slot of community in 3? Section 3, community is 10 to 11. Which of the following is true? Lecture of microbiology 1, then in 4. Microbiology in 1, then in 4, correct. Generally D is the answer in such questions. Which lecture is from 10 to 11 in 5? 10 to 11 in 5 is MB. What was the time slot of pharmacology in 4? Section 4, pharmacology 10 o'clock. Okay.
The sum of the LCM and HCF of two natural numbers A and B is 57. What is the minimum possible value of A plus B? For the number of integral values of x that satisfy. I can solve this, but let me come back to it. If a certain sum invested under compound interest amounts to twice as much at the end of the 7th year as it would at the end of the 2nd year, then the amount at the end of the 64th year will be how many times that at the end of the 49th year. So a certain sum invested under amounts to twice as much at the end of the 7th year as it would at the end of the 2nd year. The end of the 7th year. 7th year is 1 plus r by 100 power 7 is twice as p in bracket 1 plus r by 100 power 2. Basically 1 plus r by 100 power 5 is 2. Then the amount at 64th will be how many times at 49th? 64th divided by 49. 64 minus 49 is 15. And 5 is 2. So 15 will be 2 cube. This is 8 times. How many natural numbers when expressed in base 6, 5 and base 4 form 4, 5 and 6 digit respectively? In base 6 4 digit, base 6 4 digit क्या होता है? So basically 10 square is 3 digit, 10 cube is 4 digit. Similarly, base 6 I need 4 digit. So that would be from 6 cube, which is 216, to 6 power 4 minus 1, which is 1296 minus 1. Then base 5, 5 digit. Base 5, 5 digit. It's 5 power 4, 625, to 5 power 5 minus 1. Base 5, 5 digit. 5 power 4, 625, correct? 5 power 5 is 3125, so this is 3124. And then base 4, 6 digit. So 4 power 5, 4 square, 16 to 56 into 4. 256 into 4 is what? 1024. 2 4 power 6 minus 1. 4095. So I need a common range. This is 1295. This starts with 625. This starts with 1024. So 1024 to 1295. How many digits are there? 1295 minus 1024 plus 1, 272. An angle subtended by two flags of height 10 meters with a certain point P on the ground are complementary if the distance P from the photo geometry. I'll come back later. It's like data sufficiency. A sum of 77,000 was divided amongst ABC, who received the minimum amount. A received 2/9 of B and C together. But we never know who received the least, right? C can just receive 1 rupee. And then C can be minimum. Or B can receive 1 rupee. We received 3/11s. I guess individually we cannot solve, but I guess 3 equations, 3 unknowns, right? A plus B plus C is 77. A is 2 by 9, B plus C. B is 3 by 11, A plus C. 3 equations, 3 unknown. So together can be using both statement, but cannot be 4. The average mark of a class of n students is 64. After a group of 8 new students with an average mark of 73 joined the class, the new average of the entire class was a whole number. Right. In a stationery store, the price of a book, a pen, and a pencil are 15 to 8. Shiva has 60 with him. If he wants to spend all the money he has with him and buy a total of at least 5 items comprising only books, pens, and pencils, purchasing at least one, then how many ways? In a group of boys and girls, there are 3 girls. On every friendship day, each of the members of the group would send an email to the others to wish them. On one friendship day, total of n emails were sent. The total number of emails sent by boys to other boys was n minus 96. N minus 96 boys to other boys. Find the number of emails that the girls sent to the boys. And the sum of the first 100 terms of AP if the 23rd and 78 terms are 7, 11, 91, 12, 18, 91. 100 terms. 23 plus 78 is 101. So if I take the average of these two, that would be the average of 100 terms, right? 11, 80 is 91, 91 will make 1. 7 plus 12, 19 plus 1, 20. Yeah. Find the sum of all. 20 into 100. 2000 divided by 2. 1000. If A and B are positive integers such that 3 power B plus 2 minus 5 power A is 604 and 3 power A plus 1 plus 5 power B is 706, then find the sum of A plus B. I just have to find some 2 powers of 3 and 5 that add up to 706. 706, if 5 power anything will always end in 5 and I need 706. That means 3 power something, whatever may be, has to end in 1. 3 power 4 ends in 1, which is 81. So how much is remaining? 70 minus 8, 625, which is 5 power what? 4. So B is 4. B is 4. A plus 1 is 4. So A is 3. And A plus B is 7. A function f of x is defined for real variable f of x. It is max of 3 lines basically. Minimum value. I have 6 identical oranges and 6 distinct apples. Now, how many ways can I have a basket? X, y plus b, where a, b, c are positive integer. F of 0 is 2, f of 1 is 10, f of 2 is 20. Find the value of x for which f of x is minimum. F of x is minimum. Okay, let me see. F of x is ax square plus bx plus c. F of 0 means c and c is 2. F of 1 is basically a plus b plus c, which is 10, which means a plus b is 8. And f of 2, which is 4a plus 2b plus c, that is equal to oops, it is equal to 28. So 4a plus 2b is 26. 2a plus 2b is 16, which means 2a is 10, a is 5, b is 3. So what's the f of x then? F of x is 5x squared plus 3x plus 2. Find the value of x for which f of x is minimum. F of x is minimum at the mean of the roots. What is sum of the roots? Minus b by a, their mean will be this, minus 3 by 10. So f of minus 3 by 10 would be what? 5 into 9 by 100 plus 3 into minus 3 by 10 plus 2. This is 45 minus 3 into 3, 9, 90 plus 200 by 100, which is 245 by 100. Oops. Find the value of x minus 3 by 10 minus 0.3. Sorry. How many isosceles triangles with integral sides can be formed such that perimeter? Find the number of digits in the number n. Number of digits. Okay. 7, A2, A3, A1, A2 is a series of numbers. An plus 1 is equal to an plus an plus 2. An plus 1 is equal to an plus 2. Okay. Find the sum of the first 3000 terms of the sequence. A1, A2. I've solved these kind of questions before. This basically means A1 is 65, A2 is minus 13. What would be A3? Suppose n is 1. It is A2 minus A1. A2 minus A1 is minus 78. So what would be A4? A3 minus A2. A3 minus A2 is minus 65. What is A5? A4 minus A3. So 13. And then A6 would be A5 minus A6, which is 78. So now if you add this, and the addition is 0. Because A1 and A4 same in value, different in sign. Same goes with A2, A5, A3, A6. So it doesn't really matter. Every 6 terms the sum is 0. So every 3000 terms sum is 0. So I just need A1 plus A2. 65 minus 13, 52. N is the smallest positive integer which is when divided successively by 12, 8 and 17 leaves remainders 9, 8 and 7 respectively. Find the remainder when n cube minus n is divided by 14. N cube minus n is what? N in bracket n square minus 1. N into n minus 1 into n plus 1. So these are three consecutive numbers divided by 14. Three consecutive numbers divided by 14, which means the answer has to be even, right? It cannot be 7 or 13. So it is between 0 and 10. Let me come back. There are 6 boxes, each containing brown and black socks. The number of socks in the 6 boxes is 11, 14, 17, 21 respectively. One of these 6 boxes is removed and it was found that in the remaining 5 boxes together, the total number of brown raw socks is double the total number of black socks. How many socks are there in the box that is removed? It's simple, no? I just have to find out where do I get a multiple of 3, 11, 14, 17, 21, 22, 27, 112. 112 minus 11 will give me 101. I cannot divide that in the ratio 1:2. 112 minus 22 is what? 90. So that works. 112 minus 14 is 98. Again, that's not multiple of 3. So that's 22. A tank of capacity 165 liters has n taps numbered from 1 to n. Fitted to it at start of the nth minute, where 1 is between capital N. So that's the total number of taps, okay? Which fills the tank at the rates of n liters per minute. If it takes exactly n minutes to fill the tank in this manner, should I just go on adding them? So first minute only one tap is open, 1 liter gone. Second minute, 2 taps are open, 1 liter and 2 liter is gone in. Third time, 1 plus 2 plus 3. 6 gone in. Then 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, 10. Then 5, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is actually 15. Then 6 is 21. Then 7 is 28. Then 8. 8 would be what? 36. 36 plus 9, 45. 165. So how many times 9? A square sheet of paper has a side of 30 cm. 4 square each of side x are cut away from each of its corner and the remaining sheet is folded into an open cuboid. Without the top face, what is the maximum possible volume? How many integral solutions does the equation have? How many have I solved? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, not bad. If I did not mark, let me try this. How many integral solutions? So round 1 is over exactly at 18 minutes. N plus 4 the whole square is equal to 2 power n plus n square. So that's n square plus 8n plus 16 is equal to n square. And then plus 2 power n. 2 power n is equal to 8n plus 16. We can take 8 common, which is basically 2 cube. N plus 2, so this is 2 power n minus 3 is equal to n plus 2. How many integral solutions does this have? So n has to be minimum, what, 4 at least. 4 plus 2, 6. 4 minus 3, 1, so that doesn't work. So when I take n equal to 4, left hand side is, what is LHS, what is RHS? 2 here, 6 here. When I take n equal to 5, so that is so any odd number doesn't work basically. N can be 6, that's 8, 8, so that works. So there is at least one value, 0 is not the answer. N equal to 8. 8 minus 3 is 5, so that's 32. So now these are left hand side will be very high. This is only 10 and this will go on increasing. So none other value works. Only one is it. Not possible. Yeah. Let's see if I'll come later. Number of integral values mod के अंदर mod. This one let me try. 2 flag stars. So this one is 10 meter. This one is 15 meter. Or complementary. Complementary means what? So this is the point on the ground. So if this is theta, this is 90 minus theta. Point is P. If the distance of P from the foot of flagstaff of height 10 meter is 5, this distance is 5, and the distance in between two flagstaffs. So this is the distance we want. So how much is this distance? D minus 5. This is theta. This is 90 minus theta. So let me take tan theta. What is tan theta? 10 by 5, which is 2. And let me take tan 90 minus theta. Tan 90 minus theta is cot theta. No? So let me take cot 90 minus theta. Cot is adjacent upon opposite. which should be equal to 2. So d minus 5 is 30, d is 35. 6, 10, 7. Average mark of a class of n students is 64 after a group of 8 new students with an average mark of 73 joined the class. Earlier, sum was, let's say, Sn, and Sn plus 8 into 73 divided by now n plus 8. This has to be integer basically. The average of the entire class was the whole number. Find the number of students now in class given that n lies between 25 and 60. N students is 64. Okay. Original average was 64. New average is 73. That means what? These 8 people it's basically allegation, right? 64, 73. This is some integer. And then whatever is this ratio x power y, this is 8. How much would be x plus y? 64, 73. So I know 44, na? So 44 minus 8 is 36. 4 power 1, basically. 8 and 2, 10. 64, 73, difference is 9. 4 and 1 is 5. This one doesn't work. 32. That means this is 24. So 3 is to 1. 3 is to 1 and this difference is 64, 73, difference is 9. So 3 is to 1, 6 is to 2. And that doesn't work. 36 means this could have been 28. 28 to 8 is 7 is to 2. 7 is to 2 works, right? 7 plus 2 is 9. 64, 73, difference is 9. So that integer becomes 71. And 28 plus 6, 36. That's 8. In a stationery store, the price of pen, pencil, book, pen, pencil is book is 15, pen is 12, pencil is 8. Now this guy has to buy each of these, at least one. At least 5. At least one he has purchased. So कितना spend हो गया? 20, 35 rupees he has spent. He has to spend 60. So, and he needs to buy at least 5 items. So he needs to spend 25 in 2 or more items at least. How will he get 25? So 8 to 15 अगर मैं ले लिया 15, so I need 10, so that's not possible. If I take 8, there's no way possible. That is also an option. Because 25, I need to use at least 2 of them. 15, 12 will be 27. 15, 8 will be 23. 12, 8 would only be 20. No way, no. Ninth. In a group of boys and girls, there are. Okay, so, what does this question say? There are boys, assume B, and then there are girls, which are 3. So, find the number of emails that girls send to boys. First of all, I have to figure out how many number of boys are there. The total number of emails sent by boys to other boys. Boys to other boys will be what? B into B minus 1. Correct? That is n minus 96. And boys and girls amongst themselves would be what? B plus 3 into B plus 2. That is n. Yes or no? Yeah, that's it, right? That's b square plus 5b plus 6 minus b square plus 1 equal to 96. So 5b is 96 minus 1. Sorry, 96 minus 7. 89 आ रहा है ये तो. Hold on. B into b minus 1. Each boy will send to the other boy. Those many numbers of emails are n minus 90. Oh, yes. Yeah, 3 2 are 6. B square minus b by a. So this will be plus b. So 6b is 90. So b is 15. And g is 3. So how many? And the number of emails that the girls send to boys. Each girl must have sent 15 emails. So 3 girls would have sent 45. That I marked right. 9 I marked. 10 I marked. 11 is done. 12 I have no idea. I know how to solve when there are only 2 expressions involved. But now there are 3. 3 are involved. I have no idea how to solve. 6 identical oranges and 6 distinct apples. So basically you have A, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then you have A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6. So the orange cannot be distinguished among themselves, so they are identical. But one apple is different from the other, so those are numbered. Okay. In how many ways can I have a basket of 5 fruits containing at least one apple and at least one orange? Okay, so I have 5 fruits now. 5 fruits क्या हो सकते हैं? 4 oranges plus 1 apple, 3 oranges plus 2 apple, 2 oranges plus 3 apple, and 1 orange plus 4 apples. Now 4 oranges can be selected in one way, 1 apple can be selected in 6 ways. 3 oranges can be selected in one way, 2 apples will have to be selected in 6C2. 6C2 is what? 15. 2 oranges can be selected in one way, 3 apples can be selected in 6C3. 6C3 is 20. Is it 26 by the 31? 20 divided by 6, yeah, 20. 1 orange can be selected in one way, 4 apple can be selected in 64. 62, 15. 15, 15, 30, 25, 56. 30, 20, 50 plus 6. Yeah. How many isosceles triangles with integral sides can be formed? 22 and integral sides. So 1 plus 1 plus 10, 20 plus 2 plus now 18. Yeah. 3 plus 3, 6, 10, 4 plus 4, 14, 5 plus 5, 12, 6 plus 8, 10, 7 plus 7, 8, 8 plus 8 plus 6, 9 plus 9 plus 4, 10 plus 10 plus 2. That's it. Now, valid triangles I need, right? So this is not valid, not valid. 3 plus 3, 6 only. This is only 8. This is not. This is fine. 6 plus 6, 12 is greater than 10. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine. 10 plus 2 plus how many? 5. 12th one. 60. Number of digits. Yeah. We use some logs and all. And it's the smallest. पता ही नहीं. सुना not. What? Minimum possible value should I attempt this? 2 out of square. Should I attempt this? So you have divided a number by 12. So basically, you have a number n1. You do. Now n1 is basically 12k plus 9. Correct? No, 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 no. Basically, n is a number which is of the form 12k plus 9. Then this k is of the form 18m plus 8. Then this 8 is of the form 17p plus 7. So what is original number n? It is 12 in bracket 18m plus 8 plus 9. 12 into 18 is 12 into 18, 216, 216. 12 8s are 96 plus 9. 96 plus 9 is 105. And then 216, the same is basically 17p plus 7. So 216 into 17, 3672p plus 216 into 7. That's 1512. 12 is 96. 12 into 8, 96 plus 9, 105 plus 105 है ना 7 0 1 6 0 7. And the remainder when n cube minus n is divided by 14. 3672 3672 is divisible by 14. So it's not. Make a mistake then. 12 a plus 9 12 is 9, 18 is 8, 17 is 7, 12 is 9, 18 is 8, 17 is 7. So k becomes 18m plus 8, 96 plus 5, 105. And this m becomes 17p plus 7, 216 into 7 plus 105 into 7 plus 105. 1617. 1617. But this 216 12 into 18 into 17. I have to divide it by 14. Basically, that number is original number and is the smallest positive integer. Oh, smallest positive integer. So I don't worry about this. It's 1617. 1617 is the end. So basically 1617 into 1618 into 1616 is this divisible by 14? It is divisible by 14, so no remainder. Okay. Anything left to mark? और इसका क्या mark करूँ? The number of integral values x that satisfy this. Answer won't be very high for this for sure. तो mark कर देता हूँ यार. 4 mark कर देते हैं. Okay. I guess no, 28 seconds. I don't think I can solve anything else. But should I have attempted? Sorry, I should have attempted this actually, to be very honest. But I can recall how to solve when only two expressions are involved. But three are involved, three lines, so three intersection points, and then 137. Okay, where did I go wrong? So Pons was very good. Verbal accuracy suffered basically. Where did I go wrong? Oh, many wrong. Access transparent to society in one-way mirror. So that is epistemic inequality. The question is surveillance capitalism. Okay, we'll have to check the solution. Political actors didn't necessarily threat to the etiquette. And now I read it, this makes sense, no? Didn't necessarily subscribe. Had to seek. Arey yaar. I just marked something which I had already read. Classic mistake. explain that the concept of common good has dominated political. Define and explain. He has given a lot of historical. He has given a lot of historical significance of it. Define and explain. Because option 3 was the option. There is no suggestion that the concept has. Okay. Classic mistake. Okay. What's the difference between A and C? Type 1 attack instead of type 2. So this seems like a root cause. This seems like what actually happens. And this is the root cause. So I should have marked C. I guess I was trying to mark C, but okay. Okay. Oh yeah, this is where I left. So 4. How to recognize the word genocide? Or did I mark 2? So did I go wrong? That was anyway, I guess. All right. Okay, so this was the attempt, everyone. 137. I'm happy with my score actually. I could have done better, to be very honest. In cons, one odd question I could have solved more, but I guess uh, I'm happy with this, to be very honest. It's not a bad score. Definitely a score that would fetch a very high percentile. Okay, so I'm a little exhausted after this mock, but yeah, that's what happens when you write a mock. So, all right, so that brings us to the end of this mock attempt. I hope you found it useful to see the thought process in real time. Not just the questions that I got right, but also the ones that I had to skip or make quick decisions on. Remember just that mocks, these are just not about scores. Okay, they are more about learning how to manage your time, energy, strategy under the exam conditions and all. So yeah, if you enjoyed this session, do check out other mock attempt videos already on the channel. I have uploaded a few from this year and some from last year too. Each one has different takeaways, so watching them together will give you a broader sense of strategy. And as always, if you are preparing seriously for CAT, my mock test series is live, as you can see here. The experience is exactly like what you just saw in the video, and you will get a structured set of mocks to really sharpen your prep. Right now, you can grab it with a 25% discount. The enrollment link is in the description. For any questions, feel free to reach out to me directly on WhatsApp. My number is available, as you can see here. Finally, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to 99 Percentile Hub. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss the upcoming videos. And I'll be doing more live attempts and strategy breakdowns in the weeks to come. Thanks for watching, everyone, and all the best for your CAT prep. See you in the next one.
If today's session gave you insights, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to 99 Percentile Hub, and hit the bell icon so you never miss our future mocks, strategies, and deep dives. See you in the next session. Let's keep working towards excellence together.